Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is January 24th, 2022. I would like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Othello School District Board of Directors. We had a special meeting tonight, and we already did our flag salute. So I want to proceed to welcoming all our guests. Those of you that are here in the boardroom, thank you for being here. Those of you that are joining us online or on social media, thank you as well for taking time out of your busy schedules to watch us conduct our business tonight. I will now entertain a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
I will second that.
Motion made by Director Schutte, seconded by Director Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Do we have any requests for public comment tonight?
We do. We have one request.
Okay, we have Mr. Jake Mendez Jr. If you would come up to the mic and if you would please name and address for the record, sir.
Tap the button there. There you go. No, just.
I'm Jake Mendez Jr. I reside at 525 East Cedar Boulevard. I just wanted to discuss on the bond levy. I was interested on the Q&A form as it was live at the high school. And I had asked 3 times if the school board ever thought about doing anything or purchasing or doing anything to the old CBHA building since it's there, you know, which I thought it was a good question. I asked that 3 times, was simply ignored. And I was disappointed to get a reaction from your coordinator specialist that was behind the laptop answering those questions. I did not get a response. However, I did comment that I will ask Mr. Pete Perez tomorrow. The only response I got is that he sleeps. That is not something that I had asked. In a response, if the Othello School Board had thought about doing anything to the old CBHA. Now, this is the kind of reaction you guys want to throw at people for registered voters for the community of Othello. You guys need to really think about that. If you guys are going to put in mailers, especially in my mailbox, to request for you guys' vote, you guys need to take in consideration of that. This is not a time where a mailing form to be funny behind a laptop or a computer. I just simply asked that question. You guys need to really take yourself seriously and think about that. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mendez, before you step away, could I just ask you a question?
Yes.
So that was an online forum that you made that request?
That's when you guys were live at the high school. While you guys were live, I had asked 3 times within, 5-10 minute span or whatever. It was just a simple yes or no question. That's all.
And the reply came from an OSD employee who was
Yes.
monitoring the chat.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you guys know who that is.
All right, appreciate the clarity. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Mendez. Moving on to item B2, board member discussion. Legislative report, Director Stevenson.
Yes, so I have quite a few things, actually. A session has started both locally in the state and federally. There was 4 of us, the 2 student reps and Lindsay and myself, that had signed up for an advocacy conference from NSBA, the National Association of Board, NSBA?
School Board Association.
School Board, that's right, it's different. So, we tried to meet with WASDA today, Washington State School Directors Association, about, we have some scheduled meetings this week with the 2 senators from the state of Washington. And they're trying to set up the one for our legislator, which is Dan Newhouse, wasn't able to meet this week. So, just so that you're aware that we're working on having those content and that information. Let's see. Next, in a WASDA call recently that I was on, WASDA has, by the vote of all of the directors throughout the state, made a priority of trying to encourage our state legislators to change from a supermajority to a simple majority on bond measures. That means go from 60 plus to 50 plus. And they actually had something before the House Education Committee. And so I made a comment on the WASDA call, and then they reached out and said, hey, would you be willing to do comment to this committee? And it was during the same time we were at Othello High for our site visit. So I asked if I could send an email. So I wanted to read what I had sent. Esteemed members of the House Education Committee, I was unable to attend the House Education meeting on Tuesday and wanted to share what I would have stated then. Sorry for the delay. I sent it like a few days later. I'm writing as an individual on the school board in the Othello School District. We are a district in the rural agricultural community of Othello with a student population of around 1,400 and about 13,000 citizens within our school boundaries. We purchased land within the last 10 years with the plan of building a school on it one day. We went to bond with a plan of building a school on that property just as I was coming onto the school board a little over 4 years ago. It would have fixed all of the overcrowding at that time and into the future. The bond failed at 54%. Since then, the city has changed the zoning of that property and much of our town. It is now zoned industrial and is worthless to us. We cannot build there. We fought the rezoning, but were unsuccessful. If the bond would have passed then with a simple majority, the school would be complete by now. As it stands now, we are currently up for another bond. I pray it passes with 60%, but a simple majority is needed and would have fixed our overcrowding years ago. Please approve bonds being a simple majority. Jen Stevenson. So I wrote this as an individual, but also sharing that I'm on the school board. So just wanted to share that with everyone. Also, I don't know if you had seen that WASDA every 2 years does what's called Leadership WASDA, where they take school board members by, you have to fill out an application process. And it's like a super intensive training. There's 5 different sessions. They're 2 days each. They're throughout the state. You have to be able to commit to all of them before you even fill out the application. And I filled it out and got accepted. So, and they only have 15 to 20 spots every 2 years. So Othello is going to be represented. So, WASDA came out. I don't know if you guys got this email also from WASDA today. They have Eastern Washington training opportunities. One and on this side of the state. So board boot camp doesn't apply to any of us. I mean, you could always retake it. On board, introduction to the commitment to equity. On board, foundations of state funding. And on board, deciphering district budgets. And I've taken that district budgets, and that is an amazing intensive class. They're all 3-hour sessions and fully engaged for the full 3 hours. They're all by Zoom, it looks like. Some are in person in Spokane. So WASDA does a fabulous job of all of their training. So wanted to make sure everyone knew about that. And then I don't know if any of you get the emails, the weekly emails from, or however often they do it, both from Representative Joe Schmick and Senator Mark Schessler, and not quite as often, but also from Mary Dye. So Joe Schmick and Senator Schessler sent this one in their end of last week update, but I'm reading from Joe Schmicks. House Bill 1732 would delay implementation of the program. He's talking about the long-term care insurance and payroll tax that was created in the 2019 session. This House bill would delay the program by 18 months and delay the implementation and the collection of premiums until July 1st, 2023. And then House Bill 1713 would create 4 new voluntary exemptions from that program. So they are, quite a few people are discussing that tax. I know that's been big discussions that I've heard from staff, concerns about that. I think for our own lives as well and for all of our community. So working on those details. So I think that I have also shared some of the details from the WASDA priorities list in the past. I'm going to try and have it, the one-pager to the district so that they can have it in our next board meeting so that we can just look at that and remember some of the details. So, any questions? I know that was a lot. Okay.
Very good. Thank you for that information, Director Stevenson. Appreciate that. We have the agenda for the Scootney Springs Elementary visit on February 8th, beginning at 7:45, and we will be finishing up approximately 10 a.m. in the morning. Make sure we get those on the calendar.
So I had a question about, it just lists a time with paras, and I would love to have time with just paras, but I would also like to have time with other PSE members. I know that that's a really difficult time for janitors or they don't have a specific maintenance, but lunch personnel. I don't know how and when we could get that to fit in. Those people are also important to hear from, but there's just no magic to that. I don't know how.
Yeah, it certainly can be a challenge for folks who, I mean, that's their prime time to work. So I will check in with Principal Budawan about, it may be just that it's listed as pairs, that's the primary audience, but certainly would be open to all classified employees. So I'll make sure and circle back with her that she makes an invitation for all of the classified folks at Scootney.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that. Our plus deltas of our last meeting are listed there. I think that is a very effective tool so far. We will continue to use that. Moving on to item B3, student representative reports. It's great to have both of you here tonight. Thank you for being here, and the floor is yours, ladies.
Yeah. Okay. So for Desert Oasis, so we just started second semester, but our first semester attendance totals were, for ninth graders, we had 95.67%, 10th we had 85.72%, 11th was 84, and 12th was also 84%. And our total average was 87.54%. There were 9 students were on attendance contract, and 8 out of the 9 improved by the end of the semester. 1 did not. The academic totals was week 9 we had 127 failing grades, and at the end of week 18 we had 96 failing grades. 24 students were on academic contract, 22 out of the 24 improved, and 2 did not, and they will be transitioned into our Tier 2 program. 10 students will be starting the semester on attendance contracts, and we're hoping that all of them can improve their attendance and be successful this semester. And so far we've had 14 new students who transferred over this semester from OHS, and they'll be put into our enrollment number at 127, which could change in the next couple of days. And we're really excited to have these students. And this one I'm really excited about is we're offering 2 new electives at DOHS, and it's called the History of Rock and Roll and Family Leadership Institute. And this is the first time we're able to offer these two classes. So we're excited, and we're also added some personal financial budgeting parts to our financial literacy class as well.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as put together as Consuelo, but with the Running Start, that is the wrong word, Student Representative Network that we participate in with Logan and Andres at WASDA, we've been talking about the meeting with the legislators like Jen had talked about, and so we've just been working mostly on that, and then my mind just went blank, sorry. Oh, also, I just wanted to mention that I had the opportunity to attend the site visit at OHS, so that was super cool. And that's all I had to share.
Very good. Thank you both for sharing tonight. Thank you for being here. Any questions for them? All right. Moving on to item C1, I will entertain a motion to approve tonight's required approvals.
I move we approve tonight's required approvals.
Motion's been made by Director Stevenson, seconded by Director Prowse. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I'll now entertain a motion to approve account payables warrants 2.
Sorry. I motion to approve accounts payable warrants 2.
Second.
Motion's been made by Director Prowse, seconded by Director Stevenson. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And I will have to abstain from that vote.
Okay, motion passes 4 to
0.
4 to 0 with 1
1.
abstention. Thank
Right.
you. Appreciate that. All right, I will now pass the floor to Superintendent Pete Perez, who has an announcement tonight.
Yes, appreciate the board's prompt approval of required approvals, and certainly a highlight of those approvals tonight was the appointment of our next Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning. So we're excited to have Ms. Jessica Shank here tonight, and we'd ask her to come forward and share a few words with the board and the community. So let's welcome Jessica.
Well, I want to thank all of you for the trust that you're placing in me as I start this new work. I can tell you that since moving to Othello, I have been so incredibly blessed by the opportunities that I've been given for my career. And I can promise you that as I move into this new position, I'm going to work as hard as I always have for all of the staff and students of Othello. And I'm very excited. I can't wait to get started. I'm going to finish out the year at McFarland and then hit the ground running at the end of the school year. So thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you for accepting. I can tell you have some great people here at the district. You have a superintendent who I'm sure will be instrumental in helping you in any which way he can. But thank you. The community heard you loud and clear. Thank you for the work and the effort at MMS. I'm sure you'll finish up with flying colors there and make sure that everything that you wanted accomplished when you started, or most of it, is going to be accomplished. I have no doubt in my mind. But thank you again. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to C3, Superintendent Informational Items.
Yep, appreciate the opportunity to share multiple items tonight with the community and with the board. We're going to start with a moment of recognition, and so I'm going to invite Ed Peterson forward to have a conversation with the community about an outstanding employee in the Othello School District.
Oh, cool.
So I'm actually going to invite Jeanette Root to stand up. This month's nominee came from our food services department at Desert Oasis High School. Is that correct? So as you recall, we've revamped our Challenge Coin initiative here in the Othello School District so that we're giving more recognition more often and more publicly in front of the board and in front of our community members. And so each month we ask our administrators, our directors, district staff to submit nominations and names, and then a few of us here at the district office go through those, and we choose a nominee who has shown some outstanding initiative, really represents our mission and values, and Jeanette's nominee was chosen for this month's recognition, so I'll invite her to come forward and talk about that person.
Is it okay to pull this down so my glasses don't bug up so I can read this? Okay, I'm Jeanette with the dining director.
Can
And-
you, I'm sorry, can you use the microphone?
Sure,
So
why
then
not?
you can be heard out on YouTube land, because you're
Okay.
going to be a YouTube star now.
Okay, I'm Jeanette Rutt, the dining director. On the behalf of the dining department, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to Kathy for her outstanding efforts in our kitchen. We appreciate the things that you have done over the almost 12 years. I would really like to let you know that I always refer to Kathy as our cheerleader cook. This may not work very well. Because she's always there for the students. When they come through the line, she's always very, very good about calling out to them compliments as they come through with a big smile. She's also very compassionate and loving towards the students and the staff that she serves. She was at Hiawatha for a couple years. She was at Luticaga for 7, and she is now at Desert Oasis. So you never know. So we want to just thank you for being a great team player, for your hard work and your dedication to our department. And we did not want it to go unnoticed, so that is why we chose to present the coin to you this evening.
Come up with your family, and Jeanette can present you your coin. Yeah.
I'm serious. I'm very shy.
Really famous now.
My son and my husband, they're not so shy. I'm not so sure Kathy's shy either. Thank you.
Ready? Smiles on her mask, I can see it in your eyes. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but the microphone's right there. We would like to hear from you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, I tried.
Oh, maybe I'll just add one comment then for Kathy and folks like her, because there are so many good people in our school district, and to recognize her outstanding efforts is an important part of what we should be doing more consistently. What I really appreciated about what Jeanette shared is Kathy's focus on kids, because it's really easy to say keep students first. Easy to say it, but it's not easy to do it and to live it every day. And so I appreciate your recognition, Jeanette, of Kathy and her efforts over at DOHS, and for the hard work that that you and she have led in feeding our kids through a very, very challenging time the last couple of years. So well-deserved recognition. And thank you to your family for coming out here tonight.
Absolutely.
Important for them to be here. So one more round for Kathy. We do want to take one more moment to offer our appreciation and recognition, and that's for the school board. And so we're going to ask you to come forward as I read a proclamation from Governor Inslee about National School Board Appreciation Month. And so if you all could come forward, and we'll get you a certificate and take a picture and recognize your efforts. I'll have Assistant Superintendent Jessica Schenk come up and hand you your certificates and be in a picture. Yeah, so if you just group up for like a team photo, and Jessica can hand you the certificates, and I'll read a statement to the community. And
Yeah, you guys are on the board too. Get your little heinies up here.
so here's the proclamation as it reads from the state of Washington. Whereas the mission of Washington's public school system is to assure that all students achieve at high levels and possess the knowledge and skills to be responsible members of a democratic society who enjoy productive and satisfying lives. And whereas Washington's 295 locally elected school boards and 9 elected ESDs are the core of the public education governance system in our state. And whereas the districts and regions they lead serve more than 1 million students, have a combined annual budget of over $15 billion, and employ approximately 120,000 people. And whereas school directors play a crucial role in promoting student learning and achievement by creating a vision, establishing policies and budgets, and setting clear standards of accountability for all involved. And whereas school directors are directly accountable to the residents in their districts and regions, serving as a vital link between members of the community and their schools. And whereas school directors and educational service districts provide a passionate voice for advocacy for public schools and the welfare of school children. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize school directors as outstanding volunteers and champions for public education. Now, therefore, I.J. Inslee, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim January 22nd as School Board Recognition Month. And I encourage all people in our state to join me in this special observance.
Wait, he announced a single day to be the month?
He announced it on that day.
Oh, okay, okay, I was gonna say that sounds wrong, okay.
Yeah. So thank you to our Board of Directors. And I think the important part in that statement and the proclamation from the governor that we wanted to read into the record really lives in the line around recognizing school directors as outstanding volunteers and champions for public education. I don't know that there's been a more challenging time for an individual to be on a school board than the last 2 years. There's certainly been the turmoil that the pandemic has created in our country and across the globe. And for you all to sit in those seats every day, answering questions from constituents in this setting, but also the questions that you get in your daily lives as employees and employers and going through your day-to-day activities in our community. So special recognition to you for your interest and your effort in volunteering and doing what Kathy did, and which is that keeping kids first. So really should be recognized for the time and energy you put into this work. So one more round for the board.
So not to give any ideas for the future, because something that happened a few years ago was each member of the board got like 1 day, 1 week for the month of January, as like when students brought up their screens, it was that person full face on the screen. My children were so embarrassed for that month and hated me for the entire week. Mom, why is your photo on my computer? I am so sorry. I have no idea. I was like, show me. I was like, that is a crappy photo of me. Please don't do that, Ed. Not advice. Don't. This is an example of what to not do for the future, but yes. I prefer this version.
Thank you for the feedback on that. We're going to move forward with the capital projects bond update. I'm going to invite Ed Peterson forward to share with you just some of the communications and efforts that have been going on across the district to let folks know that the bond is out there.
So if you give me just 1 second here while I try to learn my way around this Chromebook instead of my laptop, which has a dead battery at the moment.
Would you like me to share the video while you're working on that?
We could. I'll have it here in a sec. No, that's not it. Yeah, let's go ahead and show the video while I'm looking for this here.
Othello School District's Board of Directors has approved the placement of a $51 million bond on the February 8th election ballot. This video will share some facts about the bond and its proposed projects. When voters approve a bond, school districts are able to obtain financing for major construction projects. Our bond request was developed by a work group of local residents, educators, and district staff. At Othello High School, our bond would provide funding to replace the 10 classrooms in the existing 600 wing and add an additional 11 overcrowding. A new competition gymnasium with capacity for all students would also be added to the school. Our elementary schools are all over capacity. To relieve overcrowding, McFarland Middle School will be expanded to accommodate 6th grade students. A new food services central warehouse will be built on property already owned by the district. This will improve safety and efficiency by relocating delivery and distribution traffic away from Othello High School. The new facility would have expanded cold and dry food storage capacity as well. Finally, new gymnasiums will be built at Hiawatha, Scootney Springs, and Lutakaga that are equal in size and construction to the gym at Wahidas Elementary. Gyms are important classroom spaces. Currently, the 3 schools must give up their PE space for meal services, assemblies, and other events. The new gyms would create equity among our elementary schools and improve building functionality. The $51 million bond has an estimated cost of $1.14 per $1,000 in assessed value. You can calculate your exact cost by finding your home's assessed value, dividing that number by 1,000, and then multiplying by 1.14. The owner of a home assessed at $250,000 would pay approximately $23.75 per month. Low-income senior citizens may be exempt from paying this tax. You should contact your county assessor. The deadline to return your ballot is February 8th. Ballots must be postmarked or dropped in a county elections box by this date to be counted. Visit votewa.gov for voter registration information. You can learn more about the bond and our proposed projects at www.othelloschools.org/bond2022 or call our district office at 509-488-2659. Spanish interpretation is available.
So it looks like YouTube didn't appreciate my subtitles upload there, so we'll take care of that. But Mike Garza has generously been voluntold to do the voiceover in Spanish for that video as well, so we'll get that done tomorrow and released in Spanish, so it's out there for everybody. So that's one of the deliverables that we've put together really since the end of November for the bond information awareness campaign. We can't call it a campaign, but it's the information campaign. In the last couple of weeks or so, I know Gina, Pete, Sandra, John, I think have gone out to buildings and they've held staff meetings with our employees in their buildings that are very similar to the question and answer forums that we do publicly and similar to some other meetings that we did at the initial onset of the bond, where it gives our staff the opportunity to learn about it and ask us questions as well. We've held community forums on the 13th. We had one at OHS on the 20th. We have another one coming up this Thursday and another one still on February 2nd. The first one was pretty well attended and really well attended actually by a lot of our Spanish-speaking community, and we're glad that we had interpreters there to be able to share the information with them, and we are working to improve attendance here at the next couple as well so that our community is well informed. You saw the informational video. We've also shared some slides with Reichert's Show House so that they can put them up on their screens as kind of pre-roll advertisement before movies that show there, just to invite the community to come and learn more about the bond, go to our website and see the facts there for themselves, informational like everything else we do. You should probably, I hope, have received a nice 8-page publication in English and Spanish in your mailbox on Saturday. Mike's got his there. That was, we owe a big debt of gratitude to the print guys in Yakima for pulling that off. With some last-minute changes, they still managed to get it to the post office and in our mailboxes exactly when we needed it to be there, so I appreciate their help with that. You've seen, I hope, the signs that are installed in our schoolyards everywhere about Wahidas, the big white signs that say Bond 2022, and they tell a little bit about what project will happen at that school, and then invite the community again to go visit our website. We've had the postcard that did the same thing. And then Gina and I and Pete joined us for a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce last week, but we've met with Rotary as well. We're meeting with other civic groups, and really anybody that wants to have a conversation, we'll go meet with them. So if you have a small group of folks that, want to come and have coffee, we'll go meet with them and talk with them and just give them the facts about the bond. Or if they want to come here and meet with me in the boardroom, me and Gina and Pete or anybody, we'll do that. The more people we can talk with, the better. And that's why we like these forums live and in person as much as we can, as opposed to doing them just over the internet, because we want to talk with people and not at them. We want to be able to have a conversation. I don't think we have anybody here from the Citizens Committee tonight. Doesn't look like it. So I know they've been really busy as well, and they have some materials that are going out. I'm on the clock, so I can't talk too much about what they're up to, but Jonathan Madeira, Chris Baginski, Danae Valdez, Faith Cirillo, Scott Lind, Rich Millette, thank you for donating him to us, Lindsay. He's been a big help with that group for sure. Greg Fultz, myself, and Gina have all been involved with those conversations and getting that group out in the community and sharing the information as well. And they're doing a good job, and they're excited about it. So they were able to, I know, put up some signs of their own. I think they have a mailer going out. But beyond that, we'll let them give you an update another time. But happy to answer any questions about what we've done or are doing so far.
Yeah, I would like to comment. I was telling Pete earlier, had a gentleman stop by my office and say whoever put this together deserves a raise. So
I agree.
Anyway, it was very well put together. Thank you. I think you guys are, anybody who's involved or has been involved are doing a great job, and it's very visible. And I believe in the transparency and giving anybody and everybody an opportunity to make a comment and attend these forums or look it up online. I think y'all are doing a fabulous job.
We want people to vote. It's not really my place to say how, but we want people to vote one way or another and participate in the process. And I know, for my part, I've really enjoyed working with Gina. This is not my first election rodeo, but I've actually learned a lot about bond financing and how the back end of stuff works outside of just the political and marketing part of it. So it's been a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that update. The last two items are informational in nature. I do want to touch on C3-5, and that's the DOP regarding students on governing boards. I know the board has been working through that process and through that policy, but in the interest of making sure we do get some applications generated for you to consider, I've had a conversation with one of the Othello High School administrators, Paul Auersland. He assisted in helping me identify students for the superintendent leadership group. And so Paul is out talking with teachers, promoting the idea, getting the messaging out at Othello High School so that we can bring you a list of candidates to consider as our student reps. So I just wanted to give you an update that we do have that application out. We are looking for folks, and we're excited to bring you some names very soon. So that's all for my updates this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Pete. Moving on to item D1, we have a presentation tonight from the Othello High School.
Yep, we welcome Scott Swartz, Othello High School principal, and his team forward to share with us their presentation following the board's recent site visit. So turn it over to Scott and his team.
All right, good evening, everybody. If we go ahead and go to the second slide there, please. All right, so just some stats about Othello High School. These numbers were run before Christmas break. So at that time, we had 1,253 students. Not all of them were on campus. That does include our number of Running Start students, which is 71, and CB Tech students, which is 37. Currently, we're operating on a 4-period day with a daily advisory. And on number 3 there, I just wanted to point out that 3 out of the last 4 years, we were either equal to or above the state average for graduation.
Woohoo!
Moving on here, we have done quite a few more classroom visits compared to last year. And again, these numbers were before Christmas break. We have done at least 191 more than we did last year. And the next item there shows how many AP classes we currently offer, which is 8. CIH stands for college and the high school classes. We have 13 of those. And we have 8 other classes that are articulated. And a lot of those are CTE classes. Students can get credits by doing...
What is the lay term for articulated?
So that would be more or less college credit.
Okay, thank you.
Well, mainly through our CTE program.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to provide a moment of clarity around that term for Director Stevenson. So it would be if a student was going to take a course at Big Bend, but we offer a similar course at Othello High School with a syllabus and experiences and opportunities for students that mirrors what happens at Big Bend, Big Bend would allow us to offer Big Bend credit for that course.
Okay, that's your class. That's really right. Okay, got it.
So we have like human development, child development, we have STARS, we have other things.
So they're Big Bend credits
Mhm.
in this case, but they're not quite college in the classroom or CIH, but all of those are all together.
Correct, because
Okay.
our college and high school classes, those come from UW, Central, and Eastern.
Okay. Thank you.
Next, please. There we go.
So one of our major goals at our high school, at Othello High School, is to improve our instruction, because one of the things that impacts students the most is quality instruction from their teachers. And so to get our teachers prepared for that, to make sure they have the proper tools for that, our number one focus is our guaranteed and viable curriculum. And what that means is that regardless of what class our student is taking, if they're taking English 9, for example, that the course, the way it's outlined, the scope and sequence, the content, it's going to be similar whether they're in teacher A or teacher B's classroom. And then the pacing of it, whether or not students can practically learn the content of that course, it's all planned out. The department's collaborating with each other to figure out what those courses look like and how that's going to be presented to our students. And so if we go to the next slide, this shows how guaranteed and viable curriculum really is the first step that we have to take to make so many other parts of our system effective. And so if we have that guaranteed and viable curriculum in our classes, that'll make it so that our teachers can collaborate more readily, and it'll make it so that they can talk about how to improve what our students are getting. And so first we have to have a good plan, and then we have to talk about how we modify that plan over time to continually try to get better and adapt it for our students. And that really answers that idea of what a PLC is supposed to be. The first two parts of a good PLC is knowing what we want our students to learn in every class, and then knowing how we're going to assess whether or not they learned it. And that's really what the guaranteed and viable curriculum is getting at. So we know that that's an important first step for us to take in order to get where we need. And if you guys would like to look later, we have a couple examples up there of courses that have started to build out their guaranteed and viable curriculum. At OHS, we call those our blueprints for our course.
Thank you for including those. That was interesting to look at.
So our next focus that we wanted to have was focusing on our teachers' relationships with students. So students have advisory every single day. It's been developed by our teachers, and the teachers have received feedback from their peers every 2 weeks or so that we can make sure that we're working with the entire staff to make sure that advisory is going to work. The teachers have organized the week so that Mondays, every single Monday, they will help their students look at their grades, figure out what needs to be improved, look at attendance, and just work on tardies and that sort of thing. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is kind of broken up. We have SEL lessons or high school and beyond plan requirements that are typically done in the middle of the week. And then the last day is a team building day where the teachers get to do something fun with their students to help build that relationship with their students. And they will follow their students from their freshman year through their senior year. The other thing that we are also making a focus is getting student voice. So starting tomorrow, our students are going to be giving course evaluations of their last semester courses so that we can get more feedback from them on what they like, what they would like to see more of, and work on continuing to build programs and departments and figuring out what students want so that we can make it fit them. And then it again goes back to the blueprint that Paul was talking about. Teachers have had input in how it's going to work. We've already figured out, okay, at the end of the school year, we need to talk about how we would do this or that or whatever differently so that we can improve it for the next school year. And then also working on developing the beginnings of a freshman academy. So we had spent the first day where it was just freshmen on campus and developed activities and that sort of thing to start moving towards that model.
So for these next couple of slides, Scott and Paul and Kat have all talked about the things that are happening at the high school. When we come to admin responsibilities, in order for this stuff to happen, we have to be out there and helping with the work. The role of the administrative team is really to support teachers so that they can get the work done in their classrooms. So really the staff was looking for, you told us you want to do all this, so let's see if you put your money where your mouth is. So this is where we have gone out and said, okay, we're going to work. We all have 2 departments that we work with to work around the guaranteed and viable curriculum. As Scott showed earlier, in the first 4 months of school, we've done 191 more walks than they did all of last year combined. So there's some exciting things that are happening. We know that there's more work to be done, but the groundwork is being laid for future success at the high school. So we also meet together on a regular basis just so that we can touch bases to know what everyone's working on and to make sure we're all on the same page. And then I know Pete meets regularly with Scott too. Sometimes they just walk around the campus and see what's going on in classrooms. Sometimes they talk in the office about things that are happening. And then we're pulled into those meetings or asked to come in as they apply to areas that we're working on. So lots of support and lots of great things happening at the high school there. And you can see that we've restructured, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the PLC time, that we're all taking part in that and working on that with the departments, not just in terms of oversight, but actually sitting in there and answering questions when we can. Another big thing about school success is principals being in the classroom, so it's great that we've been in there all those times. But the feedback that we give is the important part. You can be in there a bunch. If you don't give good feedback, it doesn't really matter. So Scott has implemented a teaming approach. So 3 or 4 times a year, we go in as teams of 2. We calibrate with one another. What did you see? Here's what I saw. Let's write the feedback together so that we can make sure that we're all seeing the same things and giving similar feedback to really make sure that we're getting the school moving in the direction that it needs to go. Or that really it's Scott's vision for where the school's going. That's probably how I should have said that. As well as we've got, lots of things that happen. Assemblies are back. It's great to have students in the gym, even if it's not all of them at one time. It's a lot of fun to have at least 2 classes in there being loud. Obviously football made the state playoffs again. Soccer and volleyball made district. We've had concerts and the drama was back. So life is still weird with COVID, but we're trying to make it as normal as possible for the students. And the last one up there, I think, is a big one. With we had a retiree this year. Tina Mendez retired at Christmas time. Been with the district. Scott, how many years? 43? 43 years. Worked pretty closely with my wife for the last 6 years. So we had a great time celebrating Tina's career. And you'll see a couple of pictures from that at the very end, but just celebrating that time and the energy that she's put into the school district.
Some of the new things that we have developed along the way too this year, RTI, or response to intervention. One thing that is meant to do is to help some of our students that have some discipline issues, have some attendance issues, and we're trying to work with them closely. We are still working on that and very close to be finished up with that. We're also working on standards-based grading. We did have a handful of teachers or so at the high school try that this year. They're still working on that, some with varied results, but that's something in the near future we're going to be implementing fully. The effects of that, meaning that we're going to be grading classes or assignments, I should say, on a scale of 1 to 5. That would also remove the 50% grade scale. And it would also change kind of our late work policy as well as that. We would not have one. Students will be able to continue to learn, and as they learn, they would be able to improve their grades. And last Thursday at our staff meeting, announced that we do have a 5-period trimester schedule starting this fall. And with that, we received input from students and staff and also from community members.
A couple of questions on those last 2 things. So the standards-based grading, you said you have some that are doing beta testers, it sounds like. When is the plan to take all of that A through D school-wide.
Okay. So originally, I had wanted to do that in the 22-23 school year. We're going to send out a group of one or two admin and several teachers to SELA. They've had that for 5 years. So we're going to, in the first week of February, we're going to go down and pick their brains a little bit. Next year, we're still going to implement that as far as I'd like to have at least one person per department. So that way we have a good variety of teachers trying that. And then in the 23-24 school year, I'd like to go school-wide.
Gotcha. And then what does a 5-period trimester look like? Now that personally have experienced through my children having the year in a semester, how does a 5-period trimester, what does that look like?
Okay, so what that would look like is currently we're on semesters, which are 18 weeks long. Trimesters would be 12 weeks long. And each class would be a half a credit. Currently now each class that we have, if it's a semester-long class, would be a 1.0 credit, and our quarter classes are a half a credit. So teachers and students would have 24 weeks rather than the 18 weeks that we have to complete a class.
So they're only dealing with 5 at a time, but there's like A's and B's to English and math.
Correct.
And okay.
Correct. So
Interesting. So maybe not sequential, just somewhere in that mix.
Right. So first and second trimester would be A and B. We could also offer some A's second trimester, meaning that if a student struggled or didn't pass, then they would be able to retake that class right away and hopefully do much better.
Great. Okay. And that's next year is
Next
your
year.
plan. Great.
Yes.
I'm curious, did you have any student feedback on that schedule change? What was the student feedback?
We did. We had them fill out a survey with their advisory teacher, and a lot of it was they liked the 5-period trimester because it was more consistent. The 6-period modified block Monday and Tuesday, if I believe it was periods 2, 4, and 5 on Monday, 1, 3, and 5, or sorry, 2, 4, 6 on Monday, and then 1, 3, 5 on Tuesday, along with an enrichment class also. So it was a little bit different, and so we were looking at the consistency on that, which made a big difference, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Would that bring in more electives for them?
That would definitely bring in more electives. Students would be taking 15 classes total, 5 each trimester, compared to 12 if we would have gone with the 6-period day.
That's exciting for them. Yes.
Definitely. One thing I'm also hoping for is not necessarily this coming year, but in 23-24, is that teachers would have a chance to be able to develop maybe some new classes, kind of like the history of rock and roll that was developed at DOHS. We currently had that class taught at Othello High School last semester. And so kind of things like that, some things that our teachers might be interested in, and I don't want to say more fun classes, but more along that line.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. If we can go to the last slide, please. So we have some pictures here mainly of our homecoming activities. And at the bottom there, as David mentioned earlier, we had Tina Mendez, after 43 years in the Othello School District, retired just before Christmas break. So that bottom picture there with Santa and Mrs. Claus. All right, and that concludes our presentation for Othello High School.
Thank you. Awesome
Thank
stuff.
you, guys.
Appreciate it. Don't know if there's any comments for those of you that were able to make for this.
I really enjoyed, I think that many of us, I was afraid about what was going to happen when we came to your campus. But it was a great visit, some great dialogue. I've had a chance to talk to many of your staff one-on-one and invited to come back or emailed and such. And not that I'm afraid of hard conversations, but I enjoy coming to your campus because it's so diverse in subjects and in personalities and in teaching styles and so many different things. I love just being able to go to whatever classes I wanted, and Scott was my partner when we went, and it was awesome just to go everywhere and to see all kinds of different things. And so I really enjoyed hearing stuff from each one of you. That was great.
Yeah, I appreciate the hospitality. Paul was my tour guide, and it was a great visit. Everything was exciting to see. Reignited my passion in the fact that we need some facilities updates at the high school, and the kids need more class space. They just do. I too was I had a tummy ache that morning thinking like I need to call in sick from nerves. But it went really great. And there's just a lot of good people who work there. You guys helped really put the vibe in the right place in the room. So I appreciate that. And it was a really great visit. So thank you. I got something in the mail today that I wanted to ask you guys about. It was a Big Bend mailer. And it said, like, take this survey and see what classes you want offered at the Othello High School. Did anyone else get that?
Mhm.
Is there anything in particular that we need, wink, wink, that I should add in my survey? Or if you can think of something, shoot me an email, because I plan on taking the survey, and I know that, like, an AA at Othello High School is something that, like, we hope to achieve someday. And so if there's classes that we need from Big Bend or whatever, I'd love to add that into my survey information.
Yeah, we're very close to having students being able to get an AA from being on campus at Othello High School. We're very close. Very excited.
I think that's so great. Standing ovation, great. Like, really great. So thank you.
So I'm really thoroughly excited there's 4 of you to spread out and be able to see and visit and get more knowledge, and 4 of you to get together and see that everything that you can see. I loving the part of the 5-period trimesters. My kids did trimesters, and it just gives you so much more. Not that I love the electives. I mean, the main classes are great, but those electives, that's what keeps the kids interested in staying and doing more. And you're going to have your reading, writing, your arithmetic, all that. And arithmetic's an old word, sorry. But I am old, so. But no, I mean, Kat took me around, and it was interesting, the classes that we did attend and look in, and see how kids just take over when a teacher isn't there, like in music, band. I was pretty. I asked her, who is going to teach this if they're not a bad teacher? We saw the student rise, and that's important to see that we have student involvement with that too. So thank you. It was a great visit, but I guess I wasn't scared.
Well, good for you.
I don't know why. I was like, yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Now, I was thoroughly enjoyed by the visit too. And even though it was finals week, it was kind of nice to see that. But then you could also see some of the nerves and some of the pushing, especially when we had an unexpected 4-day weekend right afterwards. So maybe next year we might schedule it a little bit, not finals week, to do it. But it was, I know this year we've, especially in the last couple months, have had a lot of issues with COVID. And of course it's impacting all the schools. And of course I noticed we had a lot of subs. But what was great is the subs were all very knowledgeable in their classes. It was just like the normal teacher was there. I mean, there wasn't a bit of loss of an instructional. They were carrying on very good classroom procedures, and I was really impressed with the subs that were there, that we got to see. It also gave a good perspective of why the high school is also a priority on our bond too, to get to see that visually. And the interaction between the periods and all the students and the traffic and the congestion that we have, and noticing all the portables out there and what we need to do. And you guys have been doing a wonderful job, especially during this COVID time, to keep our school open and keep our students in the classroom. We really want to say appreciate that and thank you.
Well, I unfortunately wasn't able to make the visit. but it's very encouraging, satisfying, refreshing to hear the great feedback. Appreciated your presentation. Again, I like to acknowledge schools when they come before us for their candor, their openness, their willingness to accept that there's some opportunities for growth or for improvement here. And I like the fact that you guys take those head on. A huge thank you for keeping the schools open. We've all been thrown curveballs one way or another, whether it's in our personal lives, professional lives, and in y'all's cases with our kids, and you guys have gone above and beyond. I'm sure, the district has something to do with that, and encouraging all of us to do what we can. But you guys are at the front lines of all this. You guys have had to deal with absences from teachers and subs, everything that goes on there, but you guys have done a great job. I wish I'd have been there. I've heard through the grapevine of some of the great things that you guys are doing. Great to see that our athletics performed as well as they did in the midst of all this. I mean, we had a few hiccups having to close down a couple of the sports, but again, even at that, I appreciate you guys keeping safety at the forefront, even with those issues, and keep doing the great job that you guys are doing. It's very encouraging to see our grad rates and everything you guys are doing. Again, Pete mentioned earlier, we take pride as a board and as a district to know that everything we do is first and foremost for the betterment of our students, every single one of them. And you guys have some of them that are on their way out, and you guys are the ones that are going to make sure that they're contributing citizens, that they're doing things the right way. And kudos to everyone, your entire staff, Scott. Please make sure that from the board, a big thank you. And appreciate, it sounds like everybody was very cordial at the visit, willing to, with no particular schedule, pop in and out wherever you want. That was great to see. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Just want to add a comment for the board and for Scott and his team, a word of appreciation. Certainly, I think it's important that we acknowledge that there has been some tension across the district related to some labor management issues, to COVID and some of the mandates, and lots of tension in the system the last couple of years in particular. And it can be easy to say, well, at least the schools are open. At least we're having basketball games. At least those things are happening. And as a school leader and the school leadership team, you can be okay with that. But you want to shake teachers up, change the schedule. The schedules drive school culture. The systems that we talk about are all driven by the schedule. The schedules drive how families react and whether or not they can get their kids to school. The schedule matters so much. And they could have taken another year off. This has been a multi-year project in the works. So I think special recognition to these four for saying, we're not just going to sit on it another year. We're going to move forward with it. And the nervousness that you felt on that Tuesday, you should have been there Wednesday when he told them we were going to change the schedule. And that's after hours and hours of conversation with the teachers there and so much input from them. So to the teaching staff and to these guys for making that decision and putting something together that's in the best interest of students, I think that should be recognized and something that they should be proud of. So thank you for the report tonight.
Awesome. Thank you very much once again. All right, moving on to item F1, upcoming events. I see tentative on the January 31st joint meeting. Has that not been confirmed yet, Director Stevenson? The City Council joint meeting?
Yeah,
No
my
idea.
understanding is we haven't had confirmation of attendance at was, I think, the board's request.
Okay.
Whether or not they would have a quorum present. And I don't believe we've heard back on that.
All right. Well, as soon as if we can reach out to them.
We'll take care of that tomorrow.
All right. Anything else that should be on here that anybody can think of? All right, moving on to item B2, board self-assessment of our meeting. I think Pete is our note taker tonight.
Not that Pete can't do it, but regretfully, Marissa is unable to do it, and she does an amazing job. I mean, I don't know how to say. Sad that she's not here without. I'm not quite sure how to say that. Maybe you can figure out how to put that in words if you feel like it needs to be up there.
And if things don't work out as superintendent, you're hired for the person running the monitor. Just kidding.
Well-planned agenda.
Yes, I was reflecting back on when the board was policy governance, and I was always told policy governance would help make the meetings shorter. I remember a lot of 9:30 meetings back then. And since we've made this change, our meetings are much shorter by a good hour.
I don't know if that is all change from policy governance. I think a lot of that is
leadership.
Yeah.
Yes, but Pete's vision of time management as well.
Yep.
And focus on
I'm
time.
thoroughly impressed with.
Guys, pat
how
yourselves on your
meetings-
back. I want to commend you. That's
Yep.
growth
Yeah.
as a board. I mean,
Yep.
we've learned that, we need to be as concrete as we can with our conversations and keep them pointed, keep them focused on the subject at hand, and I think we've done a great job of that, and I think that's contributing to the timeliness of our meetings.
Yeah.
Multiple factors, definitely.
I appreciated we had public comment today. We had an audience of people here.
Yes. I loved having a site visit, a school.
The school presentation.
School report. Thank you. Because if we don't have those that often, that's the focus. That's what we're here for. That's why we do it.
I was excited. We had the coin recognition and someone that we've grown up with, and it's exciting to see that the time and effort that people put out for our school system.
It was great to have both student reps and reports from both of them. I know it's been a while, and I know your schedules are crazy, but thank you for taking the time. We want to hear students come. Did you have any comments about the site visit? We didn't specifically ask you, Elise, because I know you were present.
The site visit was really cool, and it's cool to. Sorry, I wasn't ready. It was super cool to hear about the college and the high school going on, and how there's already plans to improve that. I liked in your presentation when you were talking about how you got student voice. That's super cool because that's something I've been advocating for a long time. Also, just from the student side of things, we're hearing that students are more happy and that they feel like they're getting back to normal. So props to y'all.
Any other comments? Pete, any observations?
It's a little bit redundant, but I'll share it because I think it's important. So the notes I wrote earlier, prior to Director Johnson's comments and others about the planning of the agenda and the efficiency of the meeting, we had public comment, we had employee recognition, we had a school site report, we had a bond report update, we had a new assistant superintendent speak. All these things happened in about an hour.
Yeah.
All good
Pretty
things for
cool.
kids and staff, and we can do it if we stay on topic and we stay on task and we hold each other accountable. So maybe I'll add that, just the accountability structures of the plus deltas and honoring the agenda.
Yep.
Great observation, Pete.
I had one last thing that I wanted to say, and I wanted to say it during the high school report, but on one of the last pages, it said that there were 2 young ladies that made it to state for the first time ever in cross country. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to the girls.
Very good.
Can we have them come and get recognition at a board meeting? I think that we need to have more student, I totally want to have staff recognition. Would love to have more student recognition. Anytime anybody, sports, other things from all districts, or all schools.
I agree, and actually I've been trying to get students, especially at the middle school, because there's some interesting things going on there. I've been trying to get students to come in for public comment, so I'll keep y'all posted on that.
Did we only have one apple recognition
Crystal
this
apple.
year? Crystal apple this year? Did we have more than one?
There's just one per.
Okay. We should
per
bring her
district.
in.
The district is able to nominate one individual teacher or one grade team, and so this year was an individual teacher.
Yes.
There'll be a recognition ceremony in the springtime down at the
Okay.
ESD, but we'll also do something here at the
Okay.
board.
That'd be fun.
Consuelo?
I was also working on the public comment. I've been talking more with seniors, which is my problem because I talk more within the group, but I'm trying to get more from the freshmen, especially since they're new, and just, trying to get them involved in here. So
Great. Yes, cool.
All right. Our business is conducted. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned.